Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen. So wonderful. I want to get to this question that came in last night. I think my 5-year-old son may be on the spectrum. He takes things very literally, and this leads to frustration. He is highly sensitive to loud situations. He found a recent trip to a stadium sports match really overwhelming. If we shout, he can't handle it and reacts violently back. He focuses obsessively on things like coloring, but it does calm him down. But while he is shy and awkward with adults, unless he knows them well and trusts them, he's actually very popular with his peer group and loves socializing with other children. He can also be beautifully affectionate with us on a good day and can hold eye contact very well. In fact, he loves looking in our eyes, but would barely look at an adult he doesn't know. Does this fit with autism? And thank you so much.
Wow, I love those questions. It's like solving a puzzle here. And I don't know that I got all of it written down, but I have a lot of thoughts to share with you. Hopefully,
Okay.
I'll help you. So, as I was initially starting to write down various things, like, gets very frustrated because he's very literal. He is kind of a perfectionist about the way he colors, and I'm just jotting notes for myself and thinking, these could be signs of like anxiety or OCD as well, and so on. And then you said that he really reacts to loud noises, and that sensitivity of noise is one that is very common in autism and not necessarily pertaining to all these other areas or issues. But then you said that he's really great with peers and not necessarily with us. So then that took my mind completely somewhere else, which is perhaps he has learned to communicate with you with meltdowns. And it is possible that, because peers are usually louder than adults, right? So and they're more unpredictable as well. So if sound sensitivity is an issue for him, then I would want to know more about why it's not an issue in school or with his peers, because that would be an environment that would seem to evoke that sound sensitivity a little bit more, right? So that's one question. If the case is that it really is more just limited to his time with you, then I think I would start thinking, how else can I react when he has a frustration or a tantrum or all that sort of stuff? And can I kind of walk away when he's frustrated and come back and try to only attend when he tells me he's frustrated calmly? In other words, kind of one of the things we do with our kids, but is a common behavioral intervention that you do across the board, no matter what the off the spectrum, just children growing up, is what do we say to them? Use your words. And it's kind of because they're tantruming and screaming and they've lost all regulation and stuff. And what you're trying to teach them is to calm down and express to you vocally, verbally, what's bothering them. And I think that's one of the things that you might need to focus on. Now, yes, people who are a little bit on the perfectionist side, or a little bit obsessive about how things should be, like you mentioned, his coloring has to be perfect, will get annoyed more because the world is imperfect. And so, if it's a child who's kind of like doesn't mind sloppiness and it just doesn't bother them, they're not going to get frustrated from that. But if it is a child who really wants things to be within the borders and perfect colors and stuff like that, yeah, they're going to be a little bit more annoyed by imperfection, and they will have the tendency to express that annoyance by tantruming or having some sort of challenging reaction. It is up to you to not accept that challenging reaction as a communication and to instead help the child vocalize themselves and say something like, oh, it really annoys me when it's outside the lines. Something like that, so that that replaces the way they express their frustration. I do want to say all the things you expressed individually might also be seen in ASD, but they're not sufficient for an ASD diagnosis. An ASD diagnosis does not just have to do with, sound sensitivity or tantrums. In fact, sound sensitivity is one symptom that exists in the second domain of autism. Challenging behaviors are not at all listed as symptoms of individuals on the spectrum. The only reason a lot of our kids have challenging behaviors and frustration is because they're frustrated, because they can't otherwise communicate. So unless your child has language communication delays or issues, and unless they also have some what we call stereotypical behaviors, which are kind of like random rote, stereotypical repetitive behaviors, and unless they have social delays as a result mostly of the communication delays, you're not going to be on the autism spectrum.
Okay. Thanks for watching Autism Live. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.